Oh, yes. It is time for us to come back. We went on a not long, but a good little vacation heading over to the to Hoth for a bit and hang out there. We went ice fishing, and it was a great time. We caught a couple of big fishes, or whatever you want to call them. There was some blue milk inside of them. It was really weird. But welcome back to Destination Hoth. I'm one of your hosts here, the big mouth on the mic, Daddy Rich, alongside
Jedi Dave.
Yeah, we're holding it down here. It's a Star Wars show where we actually talk about Star Wars. We kind of make it an easy show where we're not really getting into too much, but just our thoughts about what we love about Star Wars, what we love about sci-fi, what we love about comic books, what we love about everything that makes us who we are as great individuals here in the nation's capital. For me, I should say, in Ottawa, Canada, and Dave is in
Toronto, Ontario.
Hold it down.
The provincial capital.
The provincial capital.
The center of the Canadian universe.
Wow. we are both Leaf fans, so go Leafs go. Hopefully this year.
Let's not talk about that.
But
Why do you have to go to something depressing?
I don't
next
know.
You'll talk about the fact that ABBA is reunited.
Oh, I see. They did the virtual show already. It's like they were doing the virtual show. So
I nothing more heartbreaking. Like it's like, okay, so there's a pandemic. What would be worse than the pandemic? Oh, ABBA should come back. Like, it's the worst musical group ever. Like, I
once
know
again,
there's people out there who like ABBA. I apologize.
Dave, Jedi Dave, does not affect the show and all the ABBA fans out there who are listening to the show today.
All
Thank
five
you.
of you. Yeah.
All five. As I was saying, but yeah, so today's show is going to be great. We are going to have our big, and you guys liked it last time, so we're doing it again, but we're going to do the, prequel trilogy.
Prequel trilogy, yeah.
We're going to talk about the pros and cons. Dave's going to take the cons. I'm going to take the pros.
And it's very important, can I just note, just like you, because before you took the negative side of the sequel trilogy,
the dark side.
But it's important to note that Daddy Rich does love the sequel trilogy. It was just an opportunity to kind of show that negative side versus positive side.
Yeah.
And in this particular aspect, same thing. We both love the prequel trilogy. It's fantastic. It's classic Star Wars. But got to have a negative and a positive in order to really get a good debate going. And so we should be very prepared. We're going to have at least one particular hot take on my part that's going to set you in a tizzy. We're going to have a good argument, I think.
I can't wait for this. Not only that, we're also going to talk about Shang-Chi just came out recently.
Shang-Chi!
We're going to talk about that great movie that I still have to see again because it's an amazing movie. We're going to touch on the Bad Batch. We're going to talk about the Old Republic coming back remastered in a new video game for PlayStation because they just had their big PlayStation event. We are also going to talk about the What If Marvel because it's comics and it's Disney, and Disney owned Star Wars, so it leads into everything. And we are going to, what was the last thing we were going to talk about? That's about it, I think.
Something that dropped actually the day that we're recording this podcast.
Okay.
And that is the Matrix Resurrection.
Oh, that is it. All right. So once again, welcome back to Destination Hoth. Let's get into it. Let's start off with what's new out there. Now, right now, PlayStation is doing their big, I guess they're Comic-Con, if you want to call it, for PlayStation, promoting all the new stuff. Star Trek. Live long and prosper, all the Star Trek fans out. Just did their Star Trek Day. So now PlayStation's doing there, and then Warner Brothers are going to be doing their special Warner Brothers Day coming out soon. So everyone's now in the mood to show what's new for the end of this year and the beginning of 2022. So one of the things that caught my attention, and as soon as I saw it, I sent it straight to my buddy Dave. And then all of a sudden he told me that he got 20 of those.
I had 20, but it was like I had like 5 other people send me the text at the same time. Sends me the link on the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Yeah,
so what they're doing right now with the Knights of the Republic, they're going back in and redoing the Knights of the Republic storyline, putting some new graphics in, doing like a whole retake of it, and it's going to be on the PlayStation. I think it's going to definitely might be on PC and also on the Xbox One, but I know it was for the PlayStation presentation, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. Now, Dave, are you excited about it, or are you?
Boy, am I not!
What? We haven't even got to the prequels yet.
Here's the thing.
All right, go ahead.
So, obviously I love Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
And I'm a huge player of the Old Republic online role-playing game,
Yes.
right? Like I love Star Wars The Old Republic. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And it essentially is the third part of the Knights of the Old Republic series. It takes place maybe 300 years after the second game. And so when you're playing, there's a lot of references to Revan. There's like a whole cult actually that follows Revan called the Revanites. Like it's really cool. Like there's a lot of connections to those storylines. However, I've done that story. I actually, and of course, when Knights of the Republic first came out, like how many times did you play it? Like I played that game in so many different ways, right? Like it was, I wanted to try dark side, I wanted to try light side, I wanted to make different decisions. There were like different companions that you could actually kill off. I think like Juhani is like one of those characters I think you're allowed to like actually just get rid of. Like she never actually joins your group.
Yeah.
So like there's all these different storylines, and then I don't know if I want to go back to play that game again. Like it's I've been there, done that. Yeah, like it's going to be cool if there's great new graphics and it'll be visually stunning to watch and to play. But as far as the storyline goes, like I've already done that. Like I would never want to see a remake of any Star Wars film.
Yeah.
So why would I want to see a remake of any Star Wars game? I if it's a prequel though, like I don't know, is it like, because it says remake, so is it for sure a remake, or is it, because if it was a prequel to Knights of the Republic where Revan is like the Sith Lord and Malak is his apprentice, then that would be a cool storyline.
I really don't know. They said it's a remake.
It does say remake.
It says remake, so it could have some new storylines to it. It could take off from a different point of story, as you were saying. I don't know. They didn't really give too much of a gist of what they're doing, but all we know is it is coming out soon, so look out for that. Next on my list of gaming that I can't wait, they did drop a trailer for, guess what? Star Wars Lego. Yes, Star Wars Lego will be coming out in 2022. Yes, the
it's
first
so
year.
Overly delayed.
I
it
know.
was supposed to be and it's the Skywalker saga, so it's like
Skywalker
9
saga.
movies in there. Are they doing, is it going to be Rogue One and Solo as well, or is it just those 9 movies?
I don't know. Sometimes you have the enhancement packs on it where you can actually download Rogue One and all that stuff. So that'd be cool. On the Clone Wars and everything. So yeah, so it's been pushed back till 2022. They did drop the trailer recently, and it's going to be interesting to see when it does come out. I had pre-ordered my copy, paid for it, and it's still waiting for me to play. I'm taking a week off work to sit there and play forever and ever and ever. Now, not only that,
dude, are you serious? You're going to take a whole week?
I don't know. I might. For me, I love Lego. Lego is my favorite.
Oh, for sure. My wife was addicted to the Lego games too. Now,
not only that, for Halloween, they are going to be coming out with another Lego movie. It's going to be with BB-8 and his pilot, Poe Dameron. And it's going to be a darker version.
The greatest pilot in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's going to be a darker version of the Lego, but with Darth Vader having his own Halloween thing. And so it's going to be like little Halloween stories throughout. And it's coming out soon for Halloween. Lego, and I can't remember the name of it, but that's gonna be fun. So that's kind of newish. Now let's get into our next topic. Now, do you want to start with the Shang-Chi, or do you want to do Matrix?
Let's talk Matrix first, just because it's very quick, right? Like we're not talking about a 2.5 hour movie. It's just
is it very quick? Is it?
It is really quick. You know what the cool? Okay.
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Let's just say first things first. I was not aware that a trailer could give me an orgasm until I saw this trailer. So thank you to Lana Wachowski, to anybody who was involved in the making of that trailer. I feel we have an intimate relationship now. I think the greatest thing about this trailer is that it gives you questions. It doesn't give you answers.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, that's how a trailer should be made. This trailer is so perfect in the sense that I have no idea what this movie is about. All I know is it's the Matrix and I'm in, right? Because that trilogy for me is so defining. Like you know me, I'm one of the most anti-technology people. I hate social media. I hate
the way he's on Twitter all the time.
I am on there all the time. I'm just checking things out and try to kind of build a following for our group here and build it for our show. But the reality is like I feel it is just dwindled away at what is humanity, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a plethora of movies that have just been a huge deal for me in my life, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like Dave Bowman is one of my all-time heroes, right? John Connor, Sarah Connor from the Terminator movies, heroes, right? Like they were battling technology, they're battling the machines. And then when you see Neo and Trinity and Morpheus and these in this group, like that's that holy trinity for me when it comes to like Morpheus, Neo, and Trinity, and they're battling against the machines as well. Like there's so much philosophy as well, and like a lot of the Buddhist philosophies with the Matrix, which is like that we are simply living within a dream world, and that we should never be afraid to die because death is simply awakening from the dream. So that was one of the possibilities, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the fan fiction that ends up popping up for the next few months, and at the same time dreading the fan fiction, because we did have a discussion about toxic fandom when I first episode, and like that idea that people build up fan theories for the next movie, and then when they're wrong, it prevents them from being able to enjoy the story that they were given because they didn't get what they wanted to get.
Well, rumors, like if you've seen the trailer, it starts off with Doogie Howser, aka
Doogie Howser.
I still call him Doogie Howser.
Neil Patrick Harris
is
there's a new Doogie Howser on
I
Disney.
know, I saw it.
I was like, you sound like my wife. She has no interest in watching this show.
Yeah, so it's because they don't even touch on it's a different story. We'll get into that later on. But let's say they don't touch on the real Doogie Howser. Kind of say he's like it's a TV show, so it was a waste of time. As I was saying, so
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, so Neil Patrick Harris was on now. He's a therapist through the part beginning of the trailer, and you have Neo, who doesn't really know what's going on in the world. It feels like he just went. It's like he starts back again, believing that the world he's in is real and the other world, everything else is around him is fake. Now rumors are that the Morbius that we saw in the movie, it is a
young Morpheus.
A young Morpheus, but supposedly the Morpheus character has passed away and is just in this program to help Neo guide him through his path.
So he's a program.
Yeah, supposedly.
Well, because Nairobi is supposed to be in it, right?
Nairobi,
Jada Pinkett
Jada
Smith
is still in it. She took over the role of leadership in Morbius role.
Sweet.
So she's there.
She's so much like him, right? Like she's a strong leader, so it makes sense.
So that was part of it, and you find out that Neil's much more stronger than he was before in the Matrix. So it's going to be now. You also, how much I don't want this to be, but rumors are that they will bring back. Welcome back, Mr. Anderson. Back, but not the actual actor who played Agent Smith. It's going to be a different actor.
Like he became a virus, right? Like he has to be gone. I'm so pumped. Like there's nothing that they could do that wouldn't make me excited about the movie. And with all the new visual effects and everything else that they can pull off, like, and you see the story now talking about people's obsession with their cell phones. You can see that in the trailer, right? That everyone's just completely brain dead. They're all focused on social media. They're focused on the internet and the sources, the multiple sources of misinformation that come from the internet. And it
once again,
down
Jedi
society.
Dave get all that from this one 30-second
but
trailer.
you see that, like, it does, like, it makes it easier. You would think if in the current society, the way we see it today, if this was real, where the machines were kind of using people for battery energy and they were just kind of keeping us sedated, this is ideal. Like, we are like self-sedating. Like, we blinded ourselves from reality to the point where we'll just, like, everything. We don't even have smart people anymore. We just smartphones, you know? And so, like, I was like, I saw that trailer and I'm like, once again, like, they got me. And it's cool that Lana Wachowski is one directing it, to see her making sure that she's coming back. Like, it's sad that her brother's not involved as well, but at least it's a Wachowski. And
you know what? He doesn't look like he's aging one bit. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Keanu, yeah.
He looks the same.
Well, he's Canadian, right? So
he looks the same. Good Canadian.
How cool is it though that Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves are Canadian?
I know.
Like, and that's pretty cool. And then the guy that's playing young Morpheus, dude, that guy's in everything now.
Oh, he was in Candyman. He is in everything.
Yep. And like, it's Dr. Manhattan. That's like, to me, like, I'll see him as Dr. Manhattan. Yeah. But oh man, I
still don't see the technology stuff that you were talking about in this yet.
Okay,
I'm watching it right now. I'm
you're
watching it
the
right now
trailer
as
now.
we talk.
Okay, so there's like a scene in the
All right,
trailer
they're jumping off a
where you
building
see
right
everyone
now.
on their phone in an elevator.
They're jumping off their building right now, and now he's talking to this guy, and this guy's like, and then
Is Keanu now perpetually going to be a bearded guy?
I think so. It's kind of like a John Wick thing now.
I think it's because when we like the third Bill and Ted movie, it just didn't look right without
he
the
didn't
beard.
have a beard in that one. You're right.
Yeah, so I think that's his thing now. Is like he's got to have a beard.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't have the beard. It was so weird. You did see the cat, so that means he saw something. Yeah, the cat's in this, but I don't see any. I see him walking down the street, but that's I guess. And he's like,
they're kind of overinflating the importance of the cat. Like the cat was in one shot. It's really just about establishing deja vu and what that means in the Matrix. I don't know like how many cats we have to see in this story in order to what like are they just constantly changing things in the Matrix?
I saw a lot of cats.
So they must be changing things constantly.
In my house there's always a lot of cats. Yeah, they took out the trailer I'm watching around. They took out the elevator scene in this one I'm watching. So, but it's more about his story, his path to get back into more becoming the one, I guess.
The visual effects look amazing.
It's coming out Christmas.
December 22nd, right? Yeah. So for the Matrix, Matrix Resurrection, which is like it's so cool. It keeps in line with the R, right?
Yeah.
Reloaded, Revolutions, Resurrections. Boom.
All right, so we talked about that. Dave, your point is that you believe that is showing that we should stay away from technology because technology is bad. So not listen to the show today because you're using technology.
No. I'm actually establishing zero fan theories on this. I'm ready just for the ride.
No, I'm just saying your point.
But it does look like because I mean it was the idea in before, right, where we were obsessed with technology, and then we stopped living our own lives, and instead we're just giving life to the machines.
Yes,
right. Like so I see that in this trailer, but more relevant to the current puppeteering of humanity by machines. You know what I mean? So like I don't have a clue what this is about. I don't know if they're time traveling. I don't know if they're clones. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm very excited. I don't even know. Like, I actually said to my wife, I had a theory that, you know, like, because you said that maybe the young Morpheus is a program. So, like, what if they're all programs? And then I said that my wife was, like, sad. And she's like, I hope that's not the case. So they're all programs.
So what we got from, this is from they had a trade theater. Every year there's a big Vegas event for movie theaters where they go out to see movies. So what movies are going to be coming out so they can actually use in theaters. And since a big pandemic was going on, movie theaters were shut down. So this big thing was just to release to say, hey, we got your back. We got movies coming out to you. You have to see these movies in theaters. And one of the thing for the Matrix is that it's going to take a couple of years after the whole big event where the robots and the humans are working together. So they're going to have some other villain that they have to come against. Nice. So that's the basic stories, not spoiling too much.
Like a T-1000.
Something that is out there that they have to bring Neo back to face off with it. So we don't know what it is. So
he's the one.
That's the story. It's still like, once again, I wasn't a big fan of the third one. Second one I loved. The third part I was like whatever.
I love them all.
Okay. I'm actually we should do one about the Matrix and then go from there.
I am a rare breed because I actually enjoyed the second and third movie more than the first one.
Really?
Here's the thing, the first one is fantastic. Like it's a 9 out of 10 for me without a doubt. But it is still just a lead-in, right? Like the Wachowskis had said that they wanted to make the second and third movie, but they felt like if they had made this film about a guy flying around and stuff, that no one would understand how that's possible. So they needed a movie to kind of lead into the story so that everyone understood what was going on.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, it's really just sort of a prequel, really. And then the real story is the second and third movie. Yeah. So there's just so many great philosophical moments in the entire Matrix trilogy, and so much about like I said, it stems a lot in the Shintoism, the Buddhism, and that whole warrior philosophy and in the Bushido code. And you just watch like this belief in living within a dream and I was sold, man.
Well,
Like
also Star Wars does that too, so it's going to be awesome to see. But once again, it comes out December the 24th, so check it out. Also, Spider-Man is coming out then too, so it's going to be interesting.
December 22nd, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be in the box office. Speaking of Spider-Man, let's get into it. We're going to talk about now What If. Now, What If is a basic comic book back in the late 90s or late 80s? I think it was
80s,
late
90s.
Yeah, late.
I'm so old now.
Late
I don't
80s, early
anything.
90s, where they took stories of characters and do what if Spider-Man got bit by a fly instead of a spider, like what if this, like I'm just
was that an actual issue?
No, I'm just throwing something out there. But I mean,
help me
so it's like
he's like running around, and all of a sudden, like Peter Parker sitting there talking to like Gwen Stacy, and then all of a sudden, like they look over in a web, and then there's like a fly with Parker's head, and it's like help me. So, oh no, and they throw a rock.
So
Vincent Price is Flyman.
So Marvel's now doing their own What If. Now, What If is it takes place in different universe. Now they're going with, and you multiverses.
Yeah.
Now you see that it's going with the Loki theme. With the different universes, and supposedly Doctor Strange's next movie will be leading into the multiverse.
And
Spider-Man too, gonna be touching on it too. So you're gonna have that thing. So What If is now doing a whole bunch of stuff. The first episode was about what if Captain America didn't become Captain America, and it was Peggy Carter who become Captain Britain.
Great story.
So it's a great story. Now rumors are that she will maybe appear in Doctor Strange's second movie as Captain
Carter.
Captain Carter.
Oh,
Captain
that's
Britain.
so cool. See, I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's
you are the source of information. You are the Morpheus of this show.
Well, now
you save everyone.
Well, now so that's the gist on that one. So that was the first one. It was really great. It was nice to look to see Steve Rogers was still Steve Rogers. We don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, so go out and get a chance to check it out. Now the second one was the tribute to Chadwick Bowen, who passed away. He did record some voice work for the whole of the first. Now this is the first series. They are going to do second and third series, but this is the first series of What If, and he did record the whole monologue first season. Well, now the question is, what if it wasn't Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill, who got taken? It was Chadwick Bowen, T'Challa, was taken off the planet, and how the planet world will be different. And it was a great episode. It was a nice little tribute to him. He was amazing in it, and that was a great movie. So what you thought about that?
Didn't it feel too where you like it just let you know the universe was a better place with Chadwick Boseman in it?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like, and I think, and that was the feel of that entire episode. It was a feel good episode.
Yeah,
and because the whole world was shocked and saddened by the loss of Chadwick Boseman. I mean, not just because of his portrayal as Black Panther, but because he is a phenomenal actor who was really up and coming even without Black Panther. But the ability to play a character like the Black Panther, or Shang-Chi for that matter, when it comes to Shang-Chi, is you are important to an entire group of people that have not been represented in Hollywood for a very long time. Yeah. And then
we're going to get into that part. Don't worry.
So it's very cool.
Part.
It's very cool.
Don't jump ahead. All right. The next one is I think it's the third one. Third one is What If the Lords of Mighty. Now, this is kind of a touch on Seven, What's in the Box, where it takes place over a couple of days, where all the mightiest heroes of the Avengers get killed off. And this is when Samuel Jackson is trying to put them together. And you have a nice little speech that he gave to Tony in the car with him and Scarlet Witch, who wasn't really voiced by Scarlet Witch, but we can get into that a little bit later on about the whole suit with Disney.
It was entertaining, though. It was very funny.
But it was a really good one. It was
given the storyline, it was a lot funnier than I thought
it was still darker, but it was really a great storyline with it. And Sam was amazing in it. They actually got Samuel Jackson to be in it. But if you guys can check that one out, check that one out. Now, the next one on the list was the Doctor Strange, Lost of Your Heart.
Super dark,
but so romantic. So romantic.
It was romantic, but super dark.
So the story goes like this: that in a little bit of the story is that he had the same accident. He had the same accident. He had the same accident but
Right.
this time he's with his love interest, played by a Canadian.
Right. Canadian Rachel McAdams.
Rachel, and he
In the
has
car.
to try to go through his mind, and he still did the same thing. He still become the Sorcerer Supreme and all that stuff. But there's another story underneath that too. So that was another great one. What do you thought about that one?
It was dark, man. It was dark. I was like, I honestly, you get up at like on Wednesday morning and you want to watch a show,
A cartoon,
kind of feel good for your day before you go to work, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, that's just depressing. Like it was dark. But at the same time, it opened up a lot of debate on where Marvel's going and with their stories, right?
Now that's another rumor that you might see that Doctor Strange in the next Doctor Strange movie. So there.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's in Spider-Man.
Yeah. So some strange. Yeah, well, it's really out there. All right. The last one that got me kind of my heart pumping was the What If Zombie. Now, the What If Zombie was based on the graphic comics that came out in 2000, I think. If I'm wrong, please at the bottom.
Very successful
storyline, and so it's What If, and the storyline they changed it different because this one came from outer space. But they changed the storyline. It came from the what do you call that world that the Ant-Man goes into looking for his wife.
Oh, like oh my goodness, the quantum
realm. So it comes from the quantum realm where they
Can you pronounce that again? There, go for that.
What?
Say quantum realm. Go.
Quantum realm. So he's making fun of me.
The not making fun of you. It's priceless, man.
The quantum realm. So the
That's
quantum
so cool.
realm.
I wasn't making fun of you.
He's making. This is what I have to live with. This is what I have to live with. As brothers, this is what I have to live with.
I didn't make fun of you ever.
So it's supposed to be zombies. It's really fun. It has the moments when Peter Parker is in it, and he's like, "Have you ever watched Zombie?" And my favorite line. This is from the protector of Black Panther himself. What's her name?
The Denai Guerrero character, yeah. And then go ahead, say the line. Just say the line.
So she's like, "Don't you watch horror movies?" No, we do not watch horror movies. We got American reality shows to watch that scares us. So it was kind of funny. So and then you get Happy Hogan's in it, and the list goes on of some great characters in it. You also get the Hulk and the whole story how he got there, and you do get Thanos in it.
Yeah. Well, see, you give away the ending of it.
I didn't give anything. That's all I said. You got Thanos in it. They don't know where he's at. But
let me just note too that we all have our own little fears, things that we don't like. Daddy Rich is terrified of zombies.
Not terrified, but
terrified.
Don't like
zombies, birds, and fish. If you ever want to terrorize Daddy Rich, if you ever want to terrorize Daddy Rich and I went to the zoo once. And I thought he was going to be paralyzed. I'm surprised he's still not at the zoo just because he couldn't get past the bird exhibit.
I just don't like birds after seeing the movie Birds, but I do like fish.
These were birds that can't even fly.
I don't like sharks. That's a totally difference.
That's a fish.
It's not a fish. It's a shark.
It is a fish.
It's a big shark with teeth. So that was our review on it. Once again, it's a great series. There's still some more episodes, and they're gonna wrap it up. Chadwick Bowen is in all of the episodes for this year. Originally, the zombie episode was supposed to come right after the Party Thor, but they kind of switched it up and they pushed this one in forward of it, and I loved it. It was really, it was great. My favorite is still the zombie episode because it does touch on Uncle Ben. We get to finally hear Uncle Ben called in this episode, and it's so how positive that Peter Parker is. He's like the heart of the Avengers, the soul of the Avengers that gives the Avengers what they need. So that was my and Dave's review on the What If. It's going great so far. It's
been entertaining and fun, yeah, for sure.
All right, let's get into the last one. It is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Ring, starring Canadian boy from Toronto. He was back recently. Simu Liu. He was back recently in Toronto, did some press, did a screening for all the Toronto fans out there. It was kind of weird because the theater wasn't as packed because of the COVID still.
But it was as packed as it could be.
Yeah, it was as packed as could be. And he was there. He's loving the vibe. He's amazing. His personality is great. Now the movie I adore. It started off with the villain, and then you find out the villain fall in love, and it has like that classic for me it was a classic kung fu movies I used to watch with my uncle in New York City.
With a far more
you pay like a dollar and you get to watch like all these kung fu movies. And but it was like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon come into one. The action was amazing. The storyline, the love is so amazing. The villain is the Mandarin, but he goes by many names. So that's kind of cool.
And they actually touch on that too, which is so priceless.
So it's such a great movie. The story. Now, once again, was it one of the best movies? No.
Whoa!
Hold on. Let me finish.
Brother.
Let me finish. Let me say, was one of the best movies? No. But was it an enjoyable movie that you can go back and watch again and again and again? Yes. And I do love the character, the relationship between him and
Aquafina.
She's amazing.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She did a really great vibe with him, and they have such a great chemistry. My favorite part is when they're like, all right, look at the time. Yeah, we should go. We gotta get up early in the morning. We have to go. And then we're like, you want to do karaoke? And they go out to karaoke and they're singing songs throughout the night, and they're passed out at the karaoke bar. I loved it. It was great. The characters are amazing in it. We're not going to spoil too much because I know people haven't seen it yet, but there's a secret character from Iron Man 3 who's in it. I'm not telling you who it is. Just look out for that. But once again, the acting was great. The stunt fight, and this director never did action before, and he did a really great job. I have to say he did a better job than the director who directed Snake Eyes for the action, because it wasn't a blurry kind of fight. It was you actually get to see, and he did his own. The actor did his own stunts too. So enough respect going out to our Canadian boy out there. He's amazing. He is amazing. Like I can't get over how great this movie is. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it again, support it like crazy. It actually made money at the box office that they were expecting to have. It just happened to go through. Now, Dave, what's your opinion about the Shang-Chi 10 Rings?
Okay, so and I mean this, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased to the fact that Simu Liu's in it. I am. I have followed Simu Liu when he had like 30,000 followers on Twitter, and like he was just the star of Kim's Convenience, right? Which I love that show. We met the cast of that show, and the two people we didn't meet were Simu Liu because he was filming Shang-Chi, and we didn't get to meet the girl that plays his girlfriend on the show. So, and oddly enough, like for me, this is now my favorite Marvel cinematic movie. It is my favorite MCU movie by far. And here's the thing. So yes, the kung fu and the martial arts sequences were out of this world. Like they're so well choreographed. Stuff that you're seeing is just stuff that you haven't seen ever, and then there's stuff that we haven't seen in a really long time. Like you said, like you and I are big martial arts fans. Like watching old kung fu movies, watching movies with Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, like stuff that those guys would be able to do in a movie that we hadn't seen in a really long time, and now like Simu's doing it in this movie, so it's so cool. And then at the same time, though, is a storyline that is significantly better than most of the Marvel movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
The only other movie that I can think of that has this Shakespearean type vibe is Black Panther.
Wow.
Right? Because Black Panther, when you're watching it, you're talking about this story about a prince who becomes the king after his father is killed, and then you find out that his brother is living somewhere else in the world who did not grow up in that perfect.
His cousin.
Sorry?
His cousin.
Isn't his brother?
No, his cousin. It was his dad's brother.
Sorry, right.
His dad's brother,
family,
so his cousin. His
family that he did not get to be raised in the same.
I watched it 20 times,
right?
so I know it's his cousin.
Okay, so so he didn't get to be raised in the royalty and the posh lifestyle that T'Challa got to grow up in, and so like and then you have like this clash between the two where like one person who feels that he's entitled to that position because it was robbed of him, and this other guy who was gating it. You know what I mean? Like it was so Shakespearean. And with Shang-Chi, like without giving the whole plot away, there is that same element of a father and a son, and you know what I mean? Like and there's a familial relationship, but at the same time, like it's so incredibly well told. It's so incredibly well acted. But visually, this is unbelievable. The experience of watching Shang-Chi is something that I can't even compare it to anything else. Like there's moments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like when you're watching like Avengers Endgame, and that moment where every single character is out on that battlefield and they're all coming together. Like you never thought in your lifetime you would see something like that on the big screen. Like that's something you would get in like a 2-page splash of a comic book, right? And all of a sudden now you're seeing it in live action. And in Shang-Chi, like they had the balls to be able to put creatures in this movie that were in comic books that seemed so weird and out there. Like, and yet at the same time, like it just seemed normal when you saw them in the movie. Like it was, oh my God, the movie's so good. I actually, this doesn't ruin the storyline. There's a moment where Simu Liu is sparring with Michelle Yeoh. It doesn't ruin anything. And it's so funny because like, I'm a huge Michelle Yeoh fan, right? And my wife turns to me and she goes, "How jealous are you right now?"
Well, like, I think you just spoiled that they're gonna meet.
And I was like, I am jealous because I would to be able to spar with the person from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I would lose my mind. Like that was just amazing. Like and honestly, like I said, like Simu had like 30,000 followers when I started following him. He's now over 500,000 followers. Like he's going to be huge, and it's pretty cool to watch a Canadian's career start to bud and bloom, and it's deserving though. Like it's not just because he got to play where you got to see his abs and you know you got to see how good looking the man is.
Where's his shirt? Where's your shirt?
Yeah. And I see if you agree with me, because this is something I was going to say before. Awkwafina is like the female version of Donald Glover. Like she is multiple talent, like multi-talented. Like she's so funny. She's a very good actress. I've started listening to her rap now, like listening to like some of her hip hop songs, and I'm like, this is good though. Like it's an entertaining song. Like My Badge actually, I think was the one that I'm like, this is really good. And like
her TV show is really good too, actually.
She's so funny. And like I just actually watched Crazy Rich Asians as well, and like she's just so incredible. Like she steals every scene that she's in Shang-Chi as well.
I like the fact that the relationship between them was really put together well. And once again, it's a great movie. We tell you definitely go out and check it out. It's in theaters now. Go support. Give yourself 100%. But once again,
I don't know what the theaters are like in the States, but it felt pretty safe here.
Yeah, it's safe in the States too. All right, so that's it about all the topics we're going to talk
things
about.
Things that are not Star Wars.
Star Wars. We should start with that. Things are not Star Wars. That is our new segment.
That'll be
Things
our new
are
segment.
not Star
Things
Wars.
that are not Star Wars.
Remember that. And once again, if you like everything we talked about, please hit the comment at the bottom, like and subscribe. And I'm not pointing down. Like and subscribe.
We're not on video. Just so you know, we are going to be working on getting onto Spotify, and out of like popular demand with the fact that a lot of people like to listen to their podcasts
on Spotify
through Spotify and things. So we're working on that right now. We're working on that, and then Daddy Rich will stop pointing at his genitals.
I'm not pointing. I'm just pointing down here. All right, so let's get into it. Now it's time for the part of the show that you guys always saw. Now, this part of the show is going to be called the battle between Dark Side and
the Prequel Trilogy.
Well, the trial, but it's battle between Dark Side and Light Side. I am the handsomely dark
You're
side.
the positive guy today,
and he's the handsomely light side. So once again, we're going to start with that, and it's going to be the prequel trilogies. Should I go? Should I go, or should you go?
You can start.
Okay, I'll start.
Because I'm really interested to hear what you have to say, because I actually did love the prequel trilogy.
It's so hard.
I just found things that I didn't like, so I could have this discussion.
I love the fact that we.
Are you going to talk? Because I have like notes on each individual movie.
Yeah, I'm starting with the first episode, Phantom
Menace. The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I'm going to do. I'm going to do two. I'm just going to do 5 things from Phantom Menace.
Okay,
so we can move
that's
on to
cool.
the next
I anyone listening,
do you want to start, Dave? Do you want to start?
No. Daddy Rich has probably talked about this before, but our friendship kind of started with the Phantom Menace.
Yes,
so because that was in 1999. Daddy Rich and I started kind of hanging out late 97, 98, somewhere around that area.
Almost the same year as I met my wife. So yeah.
Yeah. So so we started like hanging out and stuff, and then like I think the first movie we went and saw together was Blade,
where I fell asleep.
Right,
because I was tired.
Well, because you had already seen it before.
I already
Let's
seen
be
it.
fair.
Yeah,
like,
I went to the screen with my aunt. So big up to Auntie Bob. Happy birthday too. But I went to my birthday with my aunt, so we went to see Blade. The first,
which is the granddaddy of the Marvel
universe and all comic books universe. Almost.
Right. We probably wouldn't be talking about Spider-Man, No Way Home,
Doctor
if it wasn't for if not for Blade
or X-Men.
So big props to Wesley Snipes, who really is just as responsible as Jon Favreau.
He has a new book out. I can't remember the name of the book, but he have a book out that he just wrote.
Is it How to Stay Out of Prison?
Well, he's out of prison. It's called Pay
Your Taxes.
But he has a new book out.
Pay Your Taxes.
Hopefully, we will touch on that book. I'll look into it and talk about that.
Apparently, in the States, if you can be a murderer or a rapist and get out of jail, but you go to prison if you don't pay your taxes.
All right, so let's get into it. All right, so my top five points that I liked about the Phantom Menace. Number one, they introduce all the characters. You get to meet Obi-Wan. You get to meet Anakin Skywalker. You get to meet R2-D2, and you even get to meet C-3PO. That was a cool thing. Now, Atticus Skywalker, he plays Darth Vader later on in the series. So it was actually neat to see him as a young kid who is learning about life and how he has special powers because he somehow just came into the world like Jesus. So it's kind of it was true. It's true.
Is that a positive? Did you went with that?
I guess it's a positive. I guess it's
okay.
A negative, positive, whatever. But yeah, so that's what I think. It's great to introduce, and how they brought in the characters were really good. You get to meet Obi-Wan, a young, battle ready Jedi to protect everyone, but he's also a little bit more. He still had the control. Like it was weird because he feels that. Even when he was younger, he always had to have that, that Obi-Wan control, but not necessarily. He was a bad, there were some episodes where in the episode that Qui-Gon talks about how he's sometimes unruly and everything like that. But it was nice to see that. R2-D2 was cool to come in and save the spaceship. It was really cool about that. C-3PO was awesome. So I love that character. It was really cool to see him come alive and do his little thing. But just go back to Anakin with the whole pod racing. Pod racing that's number 2, was one of my favorites. See, we never saw that. I remember back in the days we used to play at Blockbuster. We had the little demo on the GameCube.
Like Nintendo 64.
No, it was a GameCube. I think it was a game. Was it game? Yeah, it was GameCube.
No, it wasn't GameCube.
I think it was GameCube. GameCube was out. 64 was already done.
No, it's N64, dude. It was N64.
I thought it was GameCube. All right, well, N64.
Don't you remember our No Mercy tournaments?
Yeah, so we were there, and the Tusken Raiders on the track. So we used to
knock Daddy Rich out of the way because he'd be beating my ass. So I that was the only way I could win.
I love the podcast, the pod racing. It was really great. It was good to see that. I love the Senate. I really actually love to see that. That's number 3. I love to see the Senate. The Senate was really awesome to see the how everything's supposed to come together, how everything worked. It was another look into Star Wars that we never got to see. Mostly we see that now, all the Trekkies out there. You mostly see that in Star Trek with the council and all this stuff. But with Star Wars, when Lucas brought it in, it was interesting to see how everything get passed, how people get elected and all that stuff. I enjoyed that. Second part, it is the battle between the Gungans and the Separatists. That was really fun to see. It was one of the first big battles that we got to see on in a screen for Star Wars, other than Hoth, the Empire Strikes Back, with that big battle, and then Return of the Jedi. But I mean, this was a really great battle. It was really fun. And that's number 5, I guess. It's going to be Jar Jar Binks. I have to say I do like Jar Jar Binks. After watching it again,
are you okay?
After watching it again, it was good to see Jar Jar Binks on. And once again, you have to look at it at the time of Lucas was trying to promote it for kids, and it did give that little pitch. But that's my look on it. I give Phantom Menace 5 stars out of 10. It's a great movie, enjoyable. Seeing Samuel Jackson sitting next to Yoda was really cool, and seeing Yoda was really cool too. So, what's your Creed take on it?
So you gave it a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
That's not a good review. I'd actually have to give it I'd give it a bigger review than that. But.
7 out of 10 then, if that'll help you. But go ahead. Five things.
Okay. I gotta wear. I'm not okay. So I won't even mention Jar Jar because that's just
what.
I didn't like the fact that Jedi were turned into superheroes.
What do you mean?
So like before they were like these mystic warriors in the original trilogy. Like they were mystic warriors. Now all of a sudden they got like super speed, durability, precognition. Like they're just like superheroes. They're like flash on, zoom, zoom, and then they're like running down the path.
Whatever. Don't hate.
The practical effects were actually less impressive than they were in the original trilogy. Like you talk about Yoda being in this movie, yeah, it was cool that they had a puppet in the original release of the prequel of Phantom Menace. That puppet was awful. So like the puppet was so bad that they actually replaced it with CGI and people were happy.
I don't know. Right? I thought the puppet was cool. It's good to see that.
Qui-Gon Jinn. So yes, they actually made Anakin like Jesus, and then they actually introduced a Jedi like Jesus, like Jedi looks like Jesus, like Qui-Gon Jinn. But the thing with Qui-Gon, like everyone loves Qui-Gon because I love Qui-Gon, right? And
do you really?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
after
like
saying
absolutely.
That stuff, okay.
Qui-Gon Jinn's like one of the most amazing Jedi in all of the story. But in classic Star Wars format, they underuse their coolest characters. That is like a Star Wars formula. Right, like in the original trilogy, not a lot of Boba Fett. Right, can't use him because he's cool. Yeah. So, same thing. You watch the new ones, right? Maul's dead at the end of the first movie. You got like not Qui-Gon's dead at the first movie. Like it's all out of there. But the one thing about him is that he's actually, kind of a bad guy. Like the stuff that he's doing with the Force, like he actually uses the Force to do a mind trick on Boss Nass to help him.
Yeah.
He actually robs the tribal leader of his free will, which just seems like because he's actually convincing him to do things like then you'll speed us away. Then we shall speed you away. And it's like everything is just like he's just making people do whatever he wants. And then he tries to use it to swindle a businessman, Watto in Tatooine. He tries to swindle a businessman.
You mean a gambler? You mean a gambler?
But it was so cool though. He's like,
a gambler?
He's like, but credits will be fine. No, they won't. And he's like, like credits will do fine. So no, they won't. Why are you waving your hand around like some sort of Jedi? Like the credits don't work here. Only money, right? And it's like he's like, oh my god, you ripped off. He would have actually given him the Dictarets. Give him the Republic credits, and he can't even use them on Tatooine because it's not a Republic area. It's run by the the Hutts.
Hutts, yeah.
So he's gonna rip off the businessman.
Whatever.
And then later on, he actually uses it to the chance cube. He actually then he manipulates the chance cube. Like, dude, I don't know if you've ever you and I grew up in a similar environment. You can't if you had been like cheating someone out of like on a game of craps or something like that. On the street, dude, not cool. He's not a lot of honor and integrity.
I once again the comments from this show does not.
He's supposed to be like this consummate Jedi, like this good guy, and he's like swindling people and like controlling like tribal leaders and like swindling businessmen. Anyway. Midichlorians, you know this. I hate the midichlorians.
I thought the midichlorians were amazing.
You did not. You did not. You did not.
Yes,
you can provide a positive outlook on the Phantom Menace in order to make sure that we have this discussion, but you have never been in favor of midichlorians. No one who is an original Star Wars fan can like midichlorians. The thing with like we grew up, like I was born in 74, you were born in like 77, right?
77, yeah, the year
we grew up with Star Wars and the Force was like this mythological religion, this energy binding everything together. But there was never you would think though, like the prequels are set before the original trilogy.
But it did come up again in Mandalorian.
Yeah. And I almost turned the show off. Like I almost stopped watching the show. I'm like, finally we're getting away from midichlorians, and now you tell me, we're bringing them back. No, you don't need this. You don't need midichlorians. The thing with midichlorians, it just diminishes it down to like a science. And like, I don't want science in Star Wars. There's no place for science. It is not science fiction. It's fantasy. It's a fantasy story set in space. I don't need science. Right. So I was not happy with midichlorians. The last thing before obviously like there's going to be one theme that I have for all three of these movies, which is the writing, right?
Yeah.
George Lucas is a fantastic storyteller, but he is a terrible writer and director.
Yeah.
I can never give him props. And when you watch other movies, like any other movie, and you and I are first and foremost movie fans, like we have seen thousands of movies.
Yeah.
And you can tell what a good director can do, and you can tell what a good screenwriter, what a good script sounds like. And this is Star Wars done by George Lucas is not that.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'm going to bring up, and this is going to be a consummate. I'm surprised actually that this is not your go-to thing. This is my go-to thing.
What is it?
The two characters of color in this movie are the most negative characters I have ever seen. You've got Captain Panaka. You've got Mace Windu, right? Captain Panaka is negative about everything and whining about everything. So you have an opportunity to put a black character in this movie, and this is what he's doing the whole time. Oh, sounds like they're probably dead. No, we're not going anywhere. That's not going to happen. We can't take the Highness there. The Hutts are gangsters, right? And it was like, well, what's your option? We're going to crash and die, right? Like, it's like always negative through the whole movie. At some point, you know what it reminded me of is like Bill Paxton in Aliens.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, oh, we're going to die, man. We're going to die. I was waiting for him to just, Captain Panaka to just go, we're just going to die. Like, you know, like, well, this little boy is going to help. Well, why don't you put him in charge, man? Like, I was just waiting for that. But the thing with Mace Windu, and honestly, like I finished watching Revenge of the Sith as well. Like when you go through it, Mace Windu is just the biggest douche I've ever seen. And,
really?
And I think what happened is like we all love Mace Windu because we all love Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I love Samuel L. Jackson. I would kill a small family to save Samuel L. Jackson. But his character is horrible. He is horrible. He's so negative. He is probably one of the biggest reasons that Anakin falls to the dark side. And like even in the first movie,
whoa! You're jumping too far. You're jumping too far. You have to stick with Phantom Menace. I stuck with no. Just watch the Phantom Menace.
Watching Phantom Menace.
All right.
Like,
don't bring up the sequels yet.
Okay, we're not. So we're in the Phantom Menace, and he comes in. He's like, and Qui-Gon says, "So he'll be trained." And Mace Windu's leaning back in his chair. No, he will not be trained.
So when did Samuel Jackson become like a gangster? No, little Vinny's gonna come around the corner and no, he could not be trained.
Full New Yorker.
Full New Yorker.
And like this guy's like so let me get this straight. So he took this little boy from his mother to give him a new life, and now you're gonna say no? Yeah, that's right. No, it's not even a reason.
Once again,
no.
The thoughts of Jedi Dave did not vent the show here with making Samuel Jackson from Jersey.
But I feel like even Samuel Jackson knew my character is a douche. Like he is such a douche to this kid. And all his life he's so mean to him. And it's like I'm like he's such a negative guy. Barely ever smiles. I mean, he never smiles. Never has a person. Like even Yoda has smiles.
I can't say when. But okay. I'll give you that at the beginning.
Mace Windu, super douche.
So that was your
Captain Panaka, super douche. I don't understand these two characters. Like, oh my god, he's so negative.
Was that your top 5 then?
Yeah, probably a bit more than 5 in there, but I'm like, yeah. So
all right, let's move on to the next one. I'm going to let you start on. It's Attack of the Clones.
Midichlorians are the beyond.
I love midichlorians. I think it's a great sample of how technology and blood and everything. I think it's great. Now,
I still give it a 7 out of 10,
rumors were that if Lucas still had his film, he was going to do a movie about midichlorians, like but a little cartoon version of it.
Yeah, I heard that.
I can't wait. I wish I could have watched that. That would have been awesome.
And that's why when he sold it to Disney, I threw a party.
Whatever.
I was like, thank God, no midichlorian movie.
I wanted to see a midichlorian movie, so that's me.
You did not.
I did.
I
did. All right, let's move on.
This is why we shouldn't do the podcast after midnight, because now you're like throwing pro midichlorian stuff. You're so clearly tired when you're saying good things about midichlorians. There's nothing good about midichlorians.
As I was saying, move on to the next one.
Midichlorians are the ABBA of Star Wars.
Attack of the Clones. Let's get into it. I'll let you start off with it. Your top 5. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to start off with the negatives? Attack of the Clones. Actually, this is weird. I ran a poll today.
Okay, go ahead.
On not today. I ran a poll recently for our podcast.
I can check for you on my phone if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. And like
I'm joking.
I ran a poll today though on something else, but yeah, I ran a poll on what is your favorite movie of the prequels and Revenge of the Sith, one with Attack of the Clones coming in 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's yeah. So Attack of the Clones actually is probably my favorite of this story, and only because there's some really badass scenes in this movie.
So the fighting was good in this movie.
Yeah, worst title though of so that's my first hit. The title is the worst title in Star Wars history.
Why? Attack of the Clones?
It's like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Like it just doesn't fit the Star Wars. Like there's like the Dawn of the Clone Wars or anything. Like it could have been something better than that, right? Or Dawn of War. That would have been a cool title. That's a badass title, but I don't know. Attack of the Clones just doesn't fit. There was an excessive use of CGI. I think that they didn't even make a single clone trooper armor set. Like there was nobody actually in an armor costume.
Yeah.
Like every clone trooper is a CGI.
All CGI, I think it was.
Yeah, and I love CGI when it enhances the film experience. I don't like when it takes over the film experience.
Yeah.
Once again, writing and direction. Anakin Skywalker's frequent rants are too candid at times.
Really?
They're out of sync with the progression of the storyline between him and Padme.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're sitting there like, how does Padme fall in love with this man? Like he's like, I killed them like animals, and not just the men, but the women and children. And like 5 seconds later, she's like, I truly, deeply am in love with you. Like,
well, I think every woman should have a man like that.
No, this is like strong, intelligent woman who has been like the leader of an entire planet, and now she's like falling in love with the whiniest brat on the planet.
I don't think he's whiny. I think he's amazing. He was just he's going for some. Think of it. If you losing your mom and your family, like come on,
that would be awful.
Yeah,
and if you were a badass Jedi, you're not going to be like, okay, Obi-Wan's holding me back.
Whatever,
like,
whatever.
So whiny, and like it just doesn't make any sense that this character is falling in love with him when he's admitting to murdering a mass like an entire tribe of people. Like this guy actually massacres.
It was self-defense. It was self-defense.
Fast forward to the Mandalorian once we learn more about the Tusken Raiders.
It's self-defense.
Like, holy crap, dude! This guy, like everyone was like, oh, he fell into the dark side so fast. No, he didn't. He was already there. He was already there.
It was self-defense.
Oh my God, self-defense.
They're coming at him. They were coming at him. They're coming at him.
They're coming at us. No way, man.
It's like they're coming at him. What's that little baby doing? He's coming at him with the rat.
Their children and playing with their dog. Then there's the very concept of Camino. Okay, so this is like this is going to get a little bit more detail.
It actually touch on the Bad Batch too.
Okay, so but here's the thing: the concept of Camino as a lucrative business, right? So these guys are cloners. Dexter's talking about how they're like a group of cloners and all they care about is money, right? Like it depends on how big your pocketbook is, right? Like so how much money can these guys make when no one even knows where they are or who they are? Like so like the Jedi who have archives, right? Obviously it was erased from the Jedi archives.
Yeah.
But no one is even taught, like no one knows about Camino if they can't find a record of it in the archives.
Yeah.
So they talk to anyone else. Dexter knows about Camino, but it seems like no one else in general knows about Camino. And yet they're supposed to be like these massive business like people, like they make so much money.
Yeah.
By not like imagine if you opened a business and people were like, so like Daddy Rich's like DJ equipment, right? And people are like, oh cool, like where can I go? Don't know. Where do I go to Daddy Rich's DJ equipment? Where can I buy some like speakers? Don't know where it is. No idea. Like that's
they knew where they knew they had secret business. They knew. So don't worry about that part.
The underground, maybe. I guess that's the thing. Like if I could buy it, I guess if they only dealt with underground personnel.
Yeah. All right.
The Republic ordered a contract.
What's your last one? Last one.
So yeah, actually no, I brought that up. So yeah, after like the writing and obviously the direction, like there's one thing with the direction of a film. So when you have an actor, especially a young and budding actor like Hayden Christensen was at that time, Toronto boy, Canadian guy,
good Canadian guy,
props, right? Yeah. He's the only Canadian actually to play a major character. He's
coming back in Star Wars too. Actually, in the old Obi-Wan.
And it's gonna be so cool to see what he can pull off with a different director like Deborah Chow.
Yeah.
Right. And so with this, it's like, did you watch behind the scenes for Thor? The first Thor movie,
I can't remember.
Directed by Kenneth Branagh.
I can't remember.
So like
But go
there's a
ahead.
scene where you have Anthony Hopkins, right?
Yeah.
And like Thor comes back and Anthony Hopkins is enraged. Odin's mad. And if you watch behind the scenes, you get the chance to watch Kenneth Branagh, and he goes to Anthony Hopkins and he says, "All right, give me this. Now I want you to be sad over the fact that your son has just disappointed you. Now I want you to be angry now that your son has disappointed you. Give me like almost an crazed enraged. Like you can get 15, 16 different takes of the same scene from a director. And then when it comes to comes time for the editing, you can look at that and say, okay, I'm going to go with this. I feel like this fits better. Well, Lucas doesn't do that, right? He's like faster, more intense. You were in focus, good to go. Let's move on to the next scene.
Yeah.
So if you have a young actor like Hayden Christensen, who's still kind of feeling his chops, kind of getting out there, right? Like you're not getting the best performance that you can get out of that actor when you're given that kind of direction.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you're dealing with a stage guy, a veteran of the stage, like Ian McDermott, or you're getting something out of Ewan McGregor, even Natalie Portman, who has already been established as an actor at that point and then ends up winning an Oscar later on in her career. You're seeing great actors that can actually work with those kind of lines and that kind of lack of direction. But in that moment, I felt like in that movie, especially, a lot of Hayden Christensen took a lot of heat for his performance in that movie when I felt it was writing and directing and it wasn't Hayden's fault. Let's hear the pauses for Attack.
All right. Attack of the Clone. Number 1, Yoda. That's all I have to say. Yoda. That's what I have to put anything out. There's no top 5. There's no top 6.
Just spraying out my drink.
There's no top 5. There's no top 6.
Like this close.
There's nothing.
Like spit take.
All I say is
Yoda.
That's it. There's no 5, no 6, no 7. Yoda.
To be fair, you could probably name Yoda as a positive for any Star Wars movie that.
But I'm just saying, my number 1 and number 5 is Yoda. Once you see this old frail Jedi walking with a cane, slowly doing his thing, and all of a sudden Hayden Christensen, Hugh McGregor on the floor, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader on the floor again, took out by Count Dooku. And you're going, what's going to happen? What's Yoda going to do? Yoda's not a fighter, and all of a sudden, he didn't even touch the lightsaber; it just came to his hand, and he just took out Count Dooku. It's like, you are powerful in the dark side, but not powerful as me. And in that voice too, he had a really great voice. Not powerful as me. But Yoda was amazing.
It was cool.
It was
almost 20 years we waited to see.
It was just the fight scene was amazing, and the graphics were really good at that time for Star Wars at that time, and the graphics were really well done for that time. But yeah, that's my only critique from it. My only critique was the story. Like, yes, I do agree with you. Some of the stuff with Hayden Christensen could have been better acted with a better director.
He took the flaw for it. Like, it wasn't even his fault. Like, that's what bothers me. Is like, his career should have been much bigger than it ended up being.
But I love the Clone Wars. I love the look at how the clones being made. I love the fact that we get to meet we get to meet Boba Fett as a young kid.
I agree.
And also ties
also
ties into the Bad Batch storyline where we meet Boba Fett's sister.
Yep.
In Bad Batch, and Bad Batch once again, that was amazing episode to see Bad Batch.
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode.
Oh my God, there was a big PC people on the Quebec side, and the election just happened here in Canada. Not the election, but the debates. That's another story. But yeah, once again,
where did you go?
I know. I just went somewhere.
This is post midnight, Daddy Rich.
Yeah.
Where like,
also,
did you know there was a debate today?
There was a debate today. But also, not only that, it also touched on and your favorite character, the Emperor himself, how he gets into power. It actually touched on that.
Is the rise of the Emperor.
It actually leads into the storyline of how he became the Chancellor and ordered the the clone troopers to
He's the greatest villain.
And it was amazing. History. It was amazing how they did that. But once again, my big thing is Yoda. And he's just like a badass. Yoda was just saying, but it's a great movie. I enjoyed everything about it. Once again, for these prequels, me and Jedi Dave, we do love them so much because most people were hating on them, but that was our bond for us to come together as friends and then as brothers. And then we have this fondness for Star Wars. We love Star Wars. We like the juice of Star Wars. Everything about Star Wars.
It's kind of funny when you brought up Christopher Lee. That was another thing actually that I didn't like about Attack of the Clones is that Lucas went to his creative team and said, "Look, I need a new Sith Lord, right? I need a new Sith apprentice for Darth Sidious, for the Emperor. Give me something." And they came back with all these different ideas, and their front runner was a female Sith called Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
And Lucas decided instead to go with the old white guy with the beard. And I gotta be honest, like, I don't get me wrong, like Christopher Lee is an icon. Like I love
he was
Christopher
like
Lee.
yeah.
1000%. Like there's nothing wrong with having Christopher Lee in this movie. I loved seeing him in Star Wars. But the lost potential of having Asajj Ventress in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and then finally getting her in Clone Wars, she was so amazing. Like it's just an amazing character that we lost out on. And that kind of bothered me a little bit too.
Not only that, we can go back to Phantom Menace. We also lost Darth Maul. It was a great character that would have been nice to continue on. And maybe even
have him all 3 movies where he's the main antagonist.
Antagonist would have been awesome. So that was our look at Attack of the Clones, the great movie that I love, and still had some midichlorians in it too. But once again,
did they talk about midichlorians in that movie?
I don't know. I just put it in.
Did you notice how they got rid of Jar Jar? Like Jar Jar's in it. Like he
but he voted the Emperor. He voted the Emperor in. He voted the Emperor in.
We had a vote. The emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor. You're like, way to go, job. Way to go, Jar Jar. Good job.
All right, let's move on to the last one of Star Wars in the prequel trilogy.
Basically eliminated Jar Jar until the ending scene.
It's called The Revenge of the Sith, and it's all
good title.
With all about the rise of the Emperor. All right, so let me start with my top 5. Yoda.
All right, go.
Once again, hands down, it's Yoda. I don't know what else is there. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5.
So
is Yoda.
Did you just see the prequel trilogy as the Yoda trilogy?
Well, after the Attack of the Clones, yes, because it was just Yoda. Yoda had to go hand in hand with the Emperor. And once again, spoilers if you haven't seen Star, but I mean, like, he would have won. And me and him, and this is not even a debate that we don't have, that we do have, but we and him see differently with who would have won that battle. He was more for the Emperor's side. I was already on Yoda's side all the way, and I know Yoda would have won that battle between them. But not only the battle between Yoda, also the great battle between Anakin and his father, his brother. With Obi-Wan Kenobi was a really great fight scene, and you can see that he was mad with power, but he didn't know how to use the power. That one scene where Obi-Wan had him on the, I have the higher ground, Anakin. And he's like, no, I am.
The worst Obi-Wan Kenobi impression.
Whatever. I have the higher ground, Anakin. So I'm much more powerful than anyone. And then you have the fight. So that was the worst Anakin right there. So, but it was a nice little look at it. And you also get to see the birth of Princess Leia and Luke, who come first. Now, that kind of contradict what...
That's in my list.
Oh, sorry.
That's on my list. That's on my list. I know where you're going because you're a smart man, and it's on my list.
It kind of contradicts a little bit, wink, wink. But I mean, it didn't really affect the story whatsoever, and it's still a great story. But once again, I go back to my man Yoda and the battle scene, and at the end, he kind of say, you know what, I'm gonna go off like Luke did in the that movie there The Last Jedi, where he goes off to a planet to be by himself, but he's still communing with the Force, but to be by himself. But it was a great movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And Yoda, your turn.
Great lightsaber battles. I'll give you
a lot of lightsabers, but some great
lightsaber battles are great.
Yoda. Oh, and it was just one thing that I didn't like is the kids thing where he killed little Jedis. But
my God, he kills younglings.
But I don't believe he did. I think he let them go. So that's my story. You're next.
I'm like, because I actually finished just watching this today.
Yeah.
Like I finished watching this today, and I'm still like horrified. I'm like, what is the deal? And of course, like the kids are just the cutest kids ever, right? Like, and then apparently George Lucas actually, like the kid that he talks to when he walks in, he on purpose wanted this like blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid that looked like young Anakin. So,
Ah,
because then it's like a symbolic thing of him killing his innocence and
yeah,
killing the child that he once was. But I'm
yeah.
like, dude, we all grow up, but we don't all grow up killing kids. Like that's pretty bad, man. I was like,
Yeah.
that's nasty. Okay, so here's some things I did not
Number
like.
one, go ahead.
Didn't well, there's so many things. I actually like. I will say this: like the lightsaber battles for me are like a huge deal. The Emperor to me is the greatest villain in film history.
Yeah.
Right? I have been an Emperor fan since Return of the Jedi. I love this character. So to me, the trilogy, the prequel trilogy, is the ascension of the Emperor.
Yeah.
Right? And I had this huge discussion with someone about the battle between him and when the Jedi come to arrest him. Right? There's 4 Jedi Masters, all of them on the council. He eliminates 3 of them quickly. Right? So he, like, if you read the book for Revenge of the Sith, he uses the dark side of the Force to cloud their vision, so they can't even, like, they don't even see him. They don't have no idea where he is, and then he kills like Sassy Tin and Agent Kolar like right away.
Yeah.
And then he is able to get a couple moves in on Kit Fisto, and then he kills Kit Fisto. And then he's battling Mace Windu. So he battles Mace Windu.
I
for
think
like,
Mace Windu was winning in that battle. I really do.
so
I think
and that's the thing. So this is the debate on whether or not Mace Windu actually was supposed to win. Did he win, or did the Emperor let him win? Right. So here's the thing. So in fencing, there's a motion called a yielding motion,
yeah.
which is this moment where you have a guy and his guard is down. His arms are usually raised in almost a surrendering fashion, and all the opponent has to do is thrust forward with his saber, and he wins. Right?
Yeah.
The Emperor has Mace Windu in that position. Mace Windu's arms are raised. Mace Windu looks at him and knows that he is lost, but the Emperor does not thrust forward. So in that moment, that's why I believe that he has to keep Mace Windu alive until Anakin gets there, because he needs him to be able to pull Anakin to the dark side. Right? Before I get into it, though, same thing. The Emperor is the greatest villain in film history because he controls an entire galaxy for 20 years. He does it by controlling both sides of a war, so that no matter who wins, he wins.
Yeah.
And all of it is just to eliminate his enemy, which is the Jedi. Like it's absolutely brilliant. And he's always like 10 steps ahead. Like he knows everything before it even happens. It's such a great character. I love that character. I love Ian McDermott. It's just amazing. But the one thing that I pick up on is, in addition, once again, going back to the writing, same thing as before, George Lucas should not write romantic dialogue. It's like, he's like, what is it? He's like, he says, you're so, you look so beautiful. You're so beautiful tonight, or something. And then Padme says to Anakin, oh, it's only because I'm so in love with you. And then he goes, no, it's because I'm so in love with you. And then she's like, so love has blinded you? Really? Who talks like this?
I
like,
do. I talk that to a wife everywhere. I'm like, I love you.
Say that.
Yes, my eyes
you
blinded
talk about
by
midichlorians. It's like,
well, it's part of midichlorians. You have to have the love for midichlorians.
Do you ever sit and wonder too, like, remember how the Emperor, like the Chancellor, actually recommends that Obi-Wan is not the one to go and arrest General Grievous?
No.
That he actually should be Anakin, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if they had sent Anakin, then what would have happened? So he knows that they're not going to take his suggestion. He suggests it just because he knows they will actually now not choose Anakin because they do not want to do what Chancellor Palpatine wants them to do.
Yeah, so true.
So he suggests that they send Anakin to make sure that Anakin doesn't get sent. Like, that's how much he's manipulating the Jedi. It's freaking brilliant.
Next.
At the beginning, when Palpatine tells him about how remember when you told me about how you killed the Sand people?
Yeah.
And like they all of a sudden there's like a soundbite of the Tusken Raiders getting killed in the background. I'm like, that's stupid. I did not like that.
That was great.
Once again, I thought it was pretty cool. Mace Windu, despite being a douche throughout this entire trilogy, actually ends up being the first one to figure out that this entire war is a plot to kill the Jedi. That was pretty cool. The moment where they have like this meeting and he says, like, I sense a plot to kill the Jedi. The dark side of the Force surrounds the Chancellor. So he is the first of all the Jedi to actually figure out what's going on. He just doesn't understand how much it's actually the Chancellor doing everything.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with the thing. So these are the two things I'm going to get to.
Okay.
The first thing, is the fact that Anakin needs to be so convinced that the Jedi are actually trying to take over that he aligns himself with the Emperor and then has enough conviction to go and then slaughter the entire Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Right. So in the moment that he cuts off Mace Windu's hand, then Mace Windu is killed by the Dark Force lightning. What I don't understand is in that moment, Anakin then drops to his knees and then says, "What have I done?"
Yeah.
And that bugs me. It bugs me because there's that one moment of doubt on what he's done.
Well, yeah,
because
you have you have that doubt. This is even before he did killed the kids. Like you have to have that doubt as a anti-hero in the sense that because you remember in Return of the Jedi, Luke said there's still goodness in his father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that there was still goodness in Anakin.
Still goodness in his midichlorians.
Yeah, in his midichlorians. So that's what I think. So go ahead.
But the thing is that how much better would the line have been if he had said, "What have they done?" That in that
I don't think it was
where
fit.
Everything he's known for like 10 years of his life is now just gone out the window.
I don't think it
gone
fits.
out the window.
I don't think it will fit. I don't think it would not fit
like
for what he was.
It
what
just makes
Luke
no
was trying
sense.
to
Like
get.
he should feel completely convinced that the Jedi are trying to overthrow the Republic.
No, but he still didn't. He still feel that that there was still hope. There was still something. That's why Luke said that I still feel something for my father. Like I still feel something in there, and I feel that it pointed that.
But how do you go from that moment where he's still showing some resolve, where he's like still kind of wondering, what have I done?
It's hard.
Children.
It's like you hit a kid with it's like you trying to go on a mission to hit someone and you're like, oh, I can't do it, and then you do it and you're like, what did I do? It's like you eating a burger.
But if I still have that doubt, how am I killing children?
Well, you get past it. You get past it.
Not to kill kids, man. Especially when he's an expecting father. Like I can't see that. Like it just doesn't make any sense. It's not good writing.
I thought it was good. Do you have something else?
The second thing.
All right.
The second thing for me, and it's so petty and it's so small.
What is it?
But a woman who's pregnant with twins, she does not look like her belly is so small. She's able to run out of that ship to Anakin and give him a hug. I have a friend of mine who had twins.
Yeah.
And she did not look like that. Like that woman looked like she was ready for a modeling shoot. And meanwhile, she's supposed to be pregnant with twins. And then, of course, like if they had even given birth to the babies and they had been extremely small, right, then I might have been able to buy it. But the idea that like she's pregnant with twins and then they're like fully healthy, well-developed babies.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that bothered me. But the last thing, and you knew we were getting to this because you hinted towards it earlier.
Go ahead.
Why does she die? Why does she die? So in the original trilogy, in Return of the Jedi,
okay,
Luke Skywalker says to Padme to Leia, he says, do you remember your mother, your real mother? Because everyone knows she's adopted. She knows she's adopted, right? And he knows that she's adopted, your real mother. And then she's like, no, like really just visions, really like images, really, because she died when I was really young.
Yeah.
So how is she dying when Leia's born? She still needs to be a part of Leia's life for at least a few years before she dies. So it's a major plot hole.
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I think she remembers her mom as a baby, because babies do have some memories of your
It's
your
such
childhood.
a great moment in Return of the Jedi because the whole story is about Luke and his father. And then in this moment, he finds out he has a sister. And then in that moment that he finds out his sister, what's the first question he asks? What do you remember about your mother? Because I have no memories of my mother.
Yeah.
It's like a moment where they go towards that female representation, the importance of a mother in this storyline.
Yeah.
And then she just dies after she gives birth, like some sort of praying mantis. And it's like
she remembers seeing like they put the baby towards her and say,
remember
Leia,
that though.
Leia, and then
what is she, like Powder? Like the movie Powder? Like
I'm just saying, maybe she had some force powers too from the baby and stuff like that.
Clearly, she's strong in the force. I just don't feel like force memory is a thing. Like
it is
I
now.
every moment of my existence through the force.
It is now. It's a new thing.
I don't
But we
know,
want to
man. That
know
bugged me.
we want to know your opinion about this battle that we have here. And if you like more battles like that, feel free to leave a comment and subscribe to the show, like the show. Once again, we love doing this. It is our.
Can I just say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see the symbolism behind each battle? So like when. Obviously, when Anakin kills Count Dooku at the beginning of the movie, he becomes the new apprentice, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the moment of.
I know Mace Windu killed Boba Fett.
Well, no, I mean like in Revenge of the Sith. So like the four Jedi council members come in, the four Jedi masters, to arrest him, and then it's like, now that this is that moment, right, where like he's now going to turn Anakin to the dark side. That's that entire purpose. And then the battle between Yoda and Palpatine, the fact that it exists in the Senate, because it is a battle for control of the Republic.
Yeah.
Right. If Yoda defeats the Emperor,
then the Republic would go back.
Then the Jedi would then establish control, and then he would then be able to, until they have an appropriate chancellor, to be able to turn power over to. Right.
Yeah.
That's how the Jedi would do it. And so, but in that moment, the Emperor actually wins, or not so much wins, but Yoda fails in defeating him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no. Yoda didn't fail in defeating him. Yoda,
he says he failed.
No, he didn't fail.
Into exile I must go.
Yeah, he
failed
fail.
have I.
No, he didn't.
Because he failed.
I think you saw the
Emperor.
movie wrong.
I'm reciting the actual words from the movie.
I watched the movie different from you, and it doesn't.
You must have watched it in subtitles, in midichlorian subtitles or something. I don't know.
All right, but once again, we want to know your opinion. Feel free to
the ballet scene too.
Feel free to talk about your opinion, and he actually touched on his master too, actually, in the ballerina scene too. So. That was really good. All right. Well,
you've ever heard the story of a tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
It was really bad. He poisoned him in the book.
I love Ian McDermott.
Yeah.
The Emperor. Like, I want like a prequel, like a one-off movie where it's all the backstory of the Emperor.
All right.
Now the Plagueis book is no longer canon.
It's not canon. No, it's in the.
It's still legends. So like some of that stuff could exist. I want to see like they could revamp that entire story. And like get Matt Smith to play a young Palpatine. I want to see that.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for tuning into Destination Hoth. I'm one of your hosts, the Big Mouth on the mic, Daddy Rich, alongside
Jedi Dave.
And what do we have to say to our listeners? Where can they find us?
Well, you can follow us on Twitter at DHoth Podcast.
Where did this voice come from? You can follow us on the podcast.
So I was channeling my midichlorians.
Yeah, I can see your midichlorians. They're all over you. As I was saying,
what is that supposed to be?
You can also follow us on our Instagram page, Destination Hoth on Instagram. That's Destination Hoth on Instagram. And if you want to send us a story or idea, you can always do it at our Gmail, that destinationhoth@gmail.com, that destinationhoth@gmail.com. And once again, we love sitting here talking with you, getting great vibes, having these great conversations about Star Wars and other great movies that we love to watch. But once again, thank you for tuning in to Destination Hoth. Have a great rest of your day, night, morning, weekend, evening, whenever you're listening to us. Enjoy that day. Dave, do you have anything to say, Jedi Dave?
May the force be with all of you. And wear masks and get vaccinated.
And don't get back. No, I'm joking. You wear a mask and get vaccinated too.
Get vaccines. I need the world to be normal again.
Yeah, we can go to movies to like group of movies together. All right. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.
The Nick Winter Show, and I do the entertaining. Thank you. Let's go out with something really hot for these folks. A big hit out of '77. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.